Governor Gretchen Whitmer, always great to see you. And of course, it's great to see you here on Mackinac Island.
Thank you, Stephen. We're lucky. We got good weather once again.
Okay, so now you said it out loud.
I'm knocking on wood.
I won't say it because I've never seen weather like this in as many days up here on Mackinac, right? We usually get one day like this. This is the third. So maybe the heavens are blessing us with good weather and good fortune.
I love that spin. I try not to read too much into weather.
Right. All right. So I ask everybody this off the rip. What is your goal? What's your agenda for being up here on the island? What do you hope to get done this week?
I think, this conference always comes right at a time where we start negotiating budgets. Mm-hmm. And my focus is making sure
that... It's not done yet, right?
It's not done yet. We've got a lot of legislative leaders up here making sure that we keep moving toward getting the budget completed, that it's got... it's a reflection of the values and the things that we need to get done as a state. And I think there are a lot of people here who have a big stake in that. And so harnessing all that energy to make sure we get it done on time and that it's another good budget that's balanced and bipartisan.
Yeah, a lot of people have, I think, scratched their heads a bit about the pace of the budget this year, given that, Democrats have control of the governor's office and both houses of the legislature. What has been the holdup in your opinion?
Well, we'll get it done by the end of June, and that is the statutory
requirement. That's when you're supposed to, right?
Yeah. It hasn't always been that way, Stephen, so right. I think that's
I can remember some Septembers when we were still thinking about the budget.
And, I know everyone says, Democrats control everything. We have a one-seat majority in each of the House and the Senate. And, obviously it is always two branches negotiating with one another, regardless of who's in charge. It's always been the case, as Harry Gass decades ago used to say, the governor proposes and the legislature disposes.
That's
right.
So
there's always a lot of negotiation that has to happen. And I think we're making headway, but we're in a strong position. I'm proud of the work that we've gotten done, the investments we've made. I want to see the lunch and breakfast covered for students going forward. I mean, these are big ticket items that are really important, and we just got to work through some of the other differences in the budget.
One of the things that I've been saying about the budget that you proposed is that it represents a shift, not just in sort of immediate spending, but I think in the way we think about spending and the way we frame government support for our civic infrastructure, really, the things that really matter to people's lives. I had a conversation with Monique Stanton, the Michigan League for Public Policy, and their analysis of some of the things that you're doing. Talk just a little bit about what you're up to there and how transformational you think it might be if we could do all of that.
Well, I do think that as we look at trying to grow our population and the Growing Together Council that we created last year, a lot of what's in this budget that I introduced is reflective of trying to make Michigan a place where Michiganders can get ahead and others come to for opportunity. Investing in our people, in our workforce. When you talk about that, you're obviously combining business needs with individual opportunity. That's where we find a real sweet spot. So when we make those investments, when I'm told, you really are an education governor, everyone claims to be, but you've actually done so much stuff in this space to connect people to skills and level financial barriers so others can get the enhanced skill set to get in better paying jobs. I'm proud to hear that. I'm proud of the work we've done around public safety, and I think we've got a really important story to tell here in Michigan and elevating the quality of people's lives.
Yeah. So you believe it'll be done by June 30?
Absolutely.
We're going to hold you to that.
I'll knock on wood for that, too.
Right. Okay, yesterday, up here on stage, Mayor Mike Duggan gave his address, and in it, he was pretty critical of the state and the way state government has handled mental health in Michigan, and he was describing the problems that Detroit police encounter, in part, he says, because of those shortcomings. How do you answer that?
Well, I agree. We know that in the 90s, John Engler eviscerated our mental health system. I know the mayor yesterday pointed out Lafayette Clinic,
Yes.
what happened there, people being turned out in crisis. It was horrible. We know after the pandemic that there's a lot more comfort talking about mental health. We should have been doing this a long time ago, but I've just with this new legislature finally got a mental health parity bill to my desk. I got to sign it in the recent weeks, and I think that it represents a real commitment to addressing and making progress in terms of addressing the mental health crisis. Substance abuse addiction. We know that this and mental health often go hand in hand, and if you're treating one but not the other, you're not actually helping people resolve, the issues that they're confronting. So
Sure.
There's a lot of work to do in this space. We've made huge investments in our schools to address mental health for our young people, but there's always more work to do in this space, and while we're making progress, we got to stay at it.
Are we failing the way the mayor described yesterday?
I think if you have the opportunity to talk with our clinicians, we know that there aren't enough of them. The ability to get mental health services online is a step in the right direction, and frankly, the pandemic gave us the opportunity to see how that might work and to expand on that. So encouraging people to go into this work, destigmatizing mental health, making access to care for substance abuse disorder, all of these are important pieces to it. Not one solves the problem. We got to do all of the above and more.
Yeah. So we are still in the midst, I guess, of a great windfall, I guess, of federal money that has come from a number of different bills that were passed in Congress. And I want to have you talk just a little about things that you think the average Michigander can look at or point to and say, well, this is better or this is different because of that money. A lot of people, I think, wonder about things like that. Is this really going to make a difference? What would you say they should be looking to?
I think naturally you hear people in Washington, D.C. talk about $3 trillion. You're like, what the heck does that mean? How's it making my life better? And I get that. And I think that's part of the disconnect between what happens in D.C. and in everyone's lives. I can tell you, though, when I talk to someone who's got a job paying $85,000 a year in the Bay Area doing something around chips, right, that is improving the quality of their life, improving the quality of the community, making sure that we're uplifting people's lives. When we announced yesterday that we've got this aggressive $367 million to bring down the cost of energy for 28,000 families, that is a real way that we're helping people save money and address carbon, that emissions. When we focus on housing, we're aggressively changed our goal yesterday by 53%. It's much more aggressive, 115,000 new or refurbished homes all across Michigan, affordable housing. This is how we get people who are unhoused housed. This is how we create opportunity for people who want to get one of the jobs that we've been able to announce over the last few years. So I think that these are the things. If you're saving money on your rent, or you're able to buy a home for the first time, or you've got a more energy efficient appliance or solar on your roof, you're able to keep more money in your pocket and get ahead. And that's all because of the federal actions and because of the Biden-Harris administration.
I want to talk about insurance reform because a few weeks ago I was talking with someone about things that have happened up here on Mackinac in the past, things we've gotten done. The insurance reform really did come together up here more clearly than in other places. A lot of people don't think it's working. I don't know that I've had a conversation with you about whether and when we might go back and take another swipe at that.
Well, I know that there's conversation in the legislature. There has been ever since the first iteration, when we were up here on Mackinac. I think we've made progress. We've given consumers some choice. We've been able to bring down some costs for folks, and that was the primary motivation.
Not really, though, right? I mean, most people paying more.
Dramatically as we wanted to know, right? And so I do think that there's more work to happen in this space. We also have had a lawsuit and some clarity by virtue of a legal decision, and so I think that has helped make sure that people who can get the medically necessary care that they need. But I believe and recognize that there's more work to do here so that we can help more Michiganders get reasonable insurance coverage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I've got you here. I got to ask about all the national attention that you get and the ambitions that maybe some people are assigning to you in a national perspective. I've never really asked you about that. What do you make of all of that?
People are going to say whatever they're going to say. I don't really give it much credence. No one knows what's in my heart and my mind.
Well, you do.
I do. And it's this. I'm going to give you the same answer I've given everyone. I'm right where I want to be. I'm not going anywhere for the next 2.5 years. What happens beyond that, I don't know. I really think I might go walk the earth for a year and figure out what's next for me, because this has been a roller coaster of a job.
It always is for,
it
whoever's
always is,
in it.
But Stephen, no one has dealt with pandemics, recall attempts, plots, dams being washed out.
It's been a little different stretch, right?
It's been a little more challenging than most. But I really don't know what's next. I'm not planning on any future runs. I'm really not. I wrote a book that, just to put a little light out in the world, 10 things I've learned in my life that'll maybe help give people a laugh or a little inspiration in what feels like a heavy, hard time.
I think a lot of people see that as a signal of national ambition as well.
Wait till you read it. It ain't that kind of book.
It's not that kind of book?
It's not a self-congratulatory memoir, which is what people write when they run for higher office.
Let me ask the question a different way. Among the things that you've had to do as governor here, which do you think would prepare you the most for a national elected office? What kinds of things that you've learned or experienced in this job would be applicable and powerful at the next level?
Well, I think, when you look at Washington, D.C., I think it's important that we have people with executive experience. We have a lot of people who go from the Senate to the presidency, and I remember sitting in Detroit when the Democrats had the presidential debate. There were like 17 of them. It was a 2-night event because there were so many candidates.
That was a lot of fun, by the way.
It was. And the Fox Theater, which we showed out. It was fantastic. It was like the prequel to the NFL draft.
Right.
But it was kind of startling to see there were 3 governors on that stage, and they could not cut through.
Yeah.
Because governors got to get stuff done.
Yeah.
I didn't mean stuff. Right? Governors got to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we got to be able to negotiate and lead, and the buck stops with one person. And someone from a legislative body takes, it's an important job, but they take positions on issues. They don't, at the end of the day, have to own.
Accountable for them, right?
Right. And so I think that executive experience is something that's really important.
Yeah. Okay. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, always great to see you. Settle a debate for me among our producers. Fudge or taffy?
Oh, fudge.
Oh, gosh. Okay, now you can go. That's the wrong answer.
That wasn't in my briefing, Stephen. Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more special coverage from the Mackinac Policy Conference on Mackinac Island.